Okay, hey, this is Roy with volume 3 of my Odyssey, I'm calling it. My trip down to Georgia to buy a car. I think I left off with I was in the hotel room, or the motel room. Yeah, with the Fast and Furious people outside making a lot of noise and being kind of crazy, as they tend to do, I guess, those kind of folks. Me too, I guess. But anyway, so I got in the motel room, and like I said, there was a lot of cars parked all around, and they were parked up against the room I was in. It had a big window there, and it had a curtain covering it, of course. And they were just right outside the window, sitting on that little skinny sidewalk piece there, and they were working on their cars all night. I could hear them yelling, blood-curdling screams. God knows what was going on up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I finally went to sleep probably, 2:30 or 3, something like that. And they were just out there just making noise with their cars and yelling and hollering. It was really amazing. It was quite a sight and quite a sound for sure. Every now and then I would kind of, crack the curtain over a little bit and look out there, and I'd see people just running everywhere and hollering, and, people fighting out in the middle of the parking lot, and, women yelling and men yelling, and it was just craziness. So anyway, I'm sleeping there, and finally about 6 or 7, I just couldn't lay there anymore, and I'd only slept for a couple hours. And so I got up and I said, well, I'll get myself together here and I'll try to figure out what I'm going to do, about how I'm going to get out of here, and get myself back home. And so I got on my phone and I started looking on my phone for rental cars. Of course, this town, there's not going to be a rental car in this town, I can tell you that for sure. So I look around, and there's a town about 45 minutes away, not Atlanta, but 45 minutes, and Atlanta was like almost an hour, because when he took me to this other town to drop me off to get a motel, it was another 15 or 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes from where they lived, or where they stayed in the woods. I wouldn't call it lived. But for them it was fine, I guess, but for anybody else it was kind of a strange place. So I saw on my phone that there was a place that had rental cars, and it was north and west of where I was. I had no way of getting there. And the rental car place opened at like 10:30 in the morning. So I think, well, I got to get myself to that rental car place. It's a long way off. So, my idea was to walk or hitchhike or do something to get myself over there, because, I was in the state. I had to get home. I had to get myself in a position where I had control over myself. Because up to this point, from the moment I stepped off that airplane, I had lost all control over my life. For all intents and purposes, I was totally at the mercy of strangers, people I didn't know, and they were making decisions, and I had no choice really but to follow them. And again, I saw I'm wiping my nose all the time. I got a runny nose. I think had I been in a more healthier state of mind, not been depressed like I was, I think I could have made better decisions, but my decision making was so clouded by the depression. And it's kind of personal, but for me it's helpful, and it may be helpful for people who may be suffering in this way also. Through this story, there's a whole lot to it, and it doesn't end with this Georgia trip, but I think that this story will help people who may be suffering with depression. And so I find this place, and I say, okay, well, now I just have to get there. I got to try to get to this place somehow. And again, no taxis, no Ubers, no nothing like that in this town. So I get my stuff together. I get my money out of my boot. I put just enough in my wallet that it won't be suspicious when I open my wallet up. And I put my money in the bag I had, and I head on out of the little motel. I opened up the door, and there were people just right outside the door still. I kind of walked around them, and I headed over to the little booth where the Indian lady was sitting. Still in there. I looked down on there, and she's just looking up at me. I slid that little plastic key thing to her. She didn't say a word, you know, and I just walked off. So I walked out of the parking lot out onto that street, that main street that went through the town, and I looked up the hill, and there was a Waffle House. Now, in every town, especially in the South, there's a Waffle House. And I thought, you know what, I'll go up there and I'll get breakfast, and I'll be able to sit there for a minute and collect myself and get some, you know, try to get myself centered, you know, a little bit. I can sit there and have some breakfast, and I can think a little bit, and I can be calm. So I go up there, I walk across the street, and I went up into the Waffle House there, and went in and sat down. They had a little bar, kind of a, you could sit at this little bar and eat your breakfast also, and then they had tables. And I picked this booth out, you know, by the window there, looking out in the parking lot, so I could kind of just look out there and have a plan, you know, think about what I was going to do. So I sit there for a second, and this lady comes up to the table, and she says, you know, with her accent, she says, you know, what would you like? And I said, well, I'd like 2 pancakes, some orange juice, and some, before I could say, she goes, wait right there now. She says, this is the Waffle House. We do not sell pancakes at the Waffle House. We serve waffles at the Waffle House. Now, do you want some waffles? Or what do you like? And I tell her, oh, and now I see this comforting place I thought I was going to go to. Now I'm like, oh, geez. I said, ma'am, I'll have 2 waffles and some bacon, 2 eggs, and some orange juice. I'm about to cry. I didn't tell her that, but I just felt amiss. And she goes, all right. And she walks off. And I'm like, holy cow. Waffles at the Waffle House? We do not sell waffles at the Waffle House. No, they do sell them there. You get the idea, though. So, I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting for my waffles and my eggs and my bacon and my orange juice. And as I'm sitting there, I look out in the parking lot, and this truck pulls in that, I mean, I don't know if they have inspections in Georgia. I doubt it. This thing was a wreck. And these 2 guys get out of there. One of them's got one leg shorter than the other, and the other one's got a bent up arm. His arm is all bent up. I come to find out that I think 4 out of 10 people in Georgia have a bent up arm at least. For whatever reason, they got a bent up arm. They got it in some accident on the farm, or a mule kicked them, or they fell off the truck. I don't know. So these 2 characters walk in with their pants tucked into their cowboy boots. And they walk up and they sit at the bar up there. And I feel like I'm being looked at, you know, stared at in this place, because I'm clearly a foreigner down there, because I ordered pancakes at the Waffle House. So I'm sitting there, and the lady that waited on me, she walks over there to those 2 guys, and they seem to be friendly. They like they knew each other. And a couple seconds go by, and they kind of look over my way, the 2 fellas there, and I instantly got a deliverance vibe from those 2 guys. You know, I mean, one of them, he was missing some teeth. And, you know, they was looking over at me, and I was thinking to myself, oh boy, you know, this is getting better and better. So I looked away from those fellas real quick, and I looked out the window, and I'm just waiting for my food. Here she comes with my waffles and my eggs and my orange juice, and then she leaves, and she comes back with a saucer thing, like you would put a coffee cup on. and there's 3 pieces of bacon on there. And I'm telling you, I never seen bacon there that long. They're like a foot long pieces of bacon. And they were hanging off of the saucer on all sides like angel hair pasta would hang on. I mean, they were just hanging down. And she walks over with the saucer and she lowers it down on the table. And of course, the ends of the bacon hit the table first and just kind of teetered over and fell on the saucer. I thought, man, oh man, that's the craziest thing. So I'm not gonna question this lady. I'm just thankful that I got my waffles. So I sit down there and, well, I was sitting down already. So I started eating this, and I went to drink the orange juice, and I had to chew it. I mean, talk about pulp. This thing looks like they just put an orange in a grinder, peel and all, and poured it in there. So, of course, I'm not going to complain. So I went ahead and ate my orange juice, my waffles and my eggs, and those 6-foot-long chunks of bacon, with my friends looking at me from the bar. And, yeah, that made me a little nervous. So, anyway, so I'm eating my breakfast. I get done with it, and, I left some money on the table, and I was out of there. I went by the short-leg guy and the bent-arm guy, and I went on out to the parking lot. And now, I'm trying to figure out, it's like maybe 8 o'clock now. It's 7:30, 8 o'clock. I got to get to this place where the rental cars are, because I need to have some control over my own destiny, my own direction, my own life. Because I'm at the complete mercy of these strangers, the deliverance boys in the Waffle House, the waitress in the Waffle House, the Indian lady out at the hotel or motel, the Fast and Furious kids in the parking lot, Wayne and Roy. I have not had control over my life, the direction I go. I mean, even the only thing I have control over right now is walking. Which direction I'm going to walk. Because I'm in this state of just Twilight Zone kind of thing. So, I'm feeling pretty nervous, pretty down there. So I walk out of there, and I looked across the street and down a little ways, and there's a McDonald's. I'm like, I should have went in there first. I could have got some pancakes. So anyway, I walked cattywampus across the street and down the hill there, because I saw the arches of the McDonald's up there. And I went in there and I sat down in the McDonald's. And I'm drinking. I had to get something to drink because, they wouldn't let me just sit in there. And I wanted to be able to sit in there for a minute and collect myself. So I get in there and I sit down, and I got some, I think I got some orange juice. Actually, no, I got a Coke from there. I just asked for a Coke, and I just went over and sat down. So I'm looking through my phone, and I'm trying to find some way to get myself to this other place where the rental car is. And, to backtrack just a bit, I mentioned earlier, I think in episode 2 there, that I felt sort of like a homeless person would feel. Yeah, I had $5,000 in my pocket, but there was nothing I could do with it. There was nothing I could do with it. And a homeless person, the true definition of that is really a homeless person. They have nowhere to go. When they come up to an intersection, it doesn't matter if they go straight or turn left at the intersection. It doesn't matter if they're walking and they come up to a crosswalk, if they go straight or if they go that way. It doesn't matter. That's really kind of the definition of a homeless person, is just really not having anywhere to go. And I had that feeling that I didn't have anywhere to go. So I go into McDonald's. I sit in there, and I'm sure that at times homeless people have done that just to get some reassurance for a moment at least. When you see these people on the street, you see homeless people, you see people begging, you see people doing this and that and the other. Don't look down on them. There's some serious issues there. Most of the time it's mental illness. Most of the time it's drug addiction. It's a very sad state. At one time in their life, they were a promising young person. They were born, they came up, and then things just went bad for them. People say, well, they make their own choices, they do this and that. Well, that's true to a certain extent, but at the same time, when you don't have really options, when you don't have a lot of options, your choices are limited. And when you don't learn about options and cause and effect as a child, then it's hard for you to make decisions, good decisions, when you get older, because you haven't really been shown cause and effect, other than, if you steal something, you go to jail. The idea of cause and effect is, the idea of that is to not steal in the first place, obviously, and to, not do criminal activity, but oftentimes they don't have the tools that enable them to make the right decision. So back to my story. So I'm there in the McDonald's. I'm sitting there, and I look through my phone, and there I see taxi and the name of the town I'm in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a taxi? You're kidding me. So I called the number. And this guy answers, says, hello? I go, yeah, is this a taxi service? Taxi service? No, I ain't no taxi service. I said, well, I got this number. I saw this number online for a taxi service, and I need to get to this town where there's a rental car. I need to get to a rental car. He goes, where you at? I go, well, I'm down here at the McDonald's on the corner. And he goes, well, what do you look like? I said, well, I'm a white guy. I got a bag and a book in my hand. He says, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to send a feller down there in a little bit. Now, he's a little black guy with a bent up arm. Of course, he got a bent up arm. He's got a bent up left arm. It's all bent up. You can't miss him. He's going to be in a Jeep Cherokee, a blue Jeep Cherokee. He's going to come down there and pick you up. He's right here with me right now. He's going to pick you up, and he's going to give you a ride. I go, okay, all right. No, not a taxi? He goes, no, just a friend of mine. So I'm like, oh, okay. So again, here I am at the mercy of strangers. So I go out in the parking lot, and I don't know when he's going to get there. I go out in the parking lot, and I'm standing there. And again, believe it or not, here comes a Cherokee. It was a greenish, bluish guy. I don't know. I'm colorblind. I go trotting up to this Cherokee. The guy looks at me like he's trying to go through the drive-thru. Can I help you? I go, no, he wasn't a black man. He was a white guy. And his arm wasn't bent up. So I figured, not the right guy. So I step away from him. I wait another 15 minutes probably. And here comes this blue Cherokee, this thing was, I thought, we won't get out of the parking lot, much less to this town. And it's this little black guy, small guy with a bent up left arm. And he's got it all hopped up on the window there. And I come up to him, I said, are you here to give me a ride? He goes, well, it depends. Are you the person that called my friend? I said, yeah. I need to go to this town over here. I said, should I get in the back or the front? He goes, I don't care where you get in. So I got in the front with a guy. I sat down. Off we go, smoking and a clattering and a clicking. He pulls out on the road there and he goes, now I ain't 100% sure how to get to this place that you done told my friend about, because I ain't been there. I was there a long time, 20 years ago probably. But I think I can maybe get us over. And I'm thinking, God, man, just get me further away from this place, towards some other place. So he starts driving. And he's driving down this blacktop road, weaving around in the wooded areas and down this blacktop road. He goes, it's a good 45 minutes, an hour away from here. And I go, well, yeah, that's what I heard. So, and then he doesn't say anything else. He's just driving. He's just driving. He doesn't talk again for at least 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And I'm not in the mood to conversate. I'm just looking out the window, and I'm thinking, well, any minute, this guy's going to produce a gun, and I'm not going to have any more money, and I'm going to be out here, with Roy and Wayne, in the woods. So I sized him up, I said, well, he's kind of a small guy. He's got a bent-up arm. I might be able to take him if I have to. So we're driving along. All of a sudden, he lets out a holler. He goes, hey, you know that Evander Holyfield? I go, Evander Holyfield? Yeah, the feller that got his ear bit off, the fighting guy. I go, yeah, I know about him. I've heard about him. He goes, well, that's his house right there. Right there's his house. Up that road there is where he lives. I go, oh, okay. So we drive on back. He goes, nope. It ain't it. That ain't where he is. Another 5 minutes. Right here. This is it. Up that there road and around the cut where a major hole it failed. The guy that got his ear bit off by that other fellow in the fighting ring. I go, okay, let's, yeah. So he's driving and he keeps on going and he goes, I don't know what to tell you, feller, but there ain't no rental cars in this town we're going to. I mean, I was there, you know, it probably was 25 years ago, but I sure didn't see no rental cars there. I don't care how to look. I said, well, there's one there, and I got it, you know, it says on my phone, you know, where that there's one there. And he goes, well, I seriously doubt it. So we're driving along, you know, we're getting closer, and we get it near this town. And he says, holy, he looks around and he goes, this place, man, this place had rolled up big since I was here. There's buildings everywhere. I'm going to leave that in the video. My backdrop fell on my head. Yeah, that's funny. So he says there's no rental car places here. I said, yes, there are. I said, I got them. I got it right here. And I said, my GPS will take us to it. Just go this way, go that way, go this way. So the guy drives down there, and he comes around a corner and down a hill, and then right there is I think it was a budget rental car place on the right-hand side. And I said, well, there it is, right there. Just pull in there. I'm gonna just pull right in there. Let me out here. So he pulls in there, and he says, okay, that'll be $65. He looks at me with kind of an eye raised up and goes, I go, whatever, man. I gave the guy $65, and he was out of my life. Took off. And there I was in front of the rental car place. It wasn't open yet. They were going to open at 10:45. I sat down on the curb and waited for the lady to come and open up the rental car place. That's the end of episode 3 of my Odyssey. There's a lot left. And hopefully my little backdrop won't fall on my head the next time. But I'm going to leave it in there because that's me. It's honest. And you guys have a good day and take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot for listening. Bye-bye.